Drumroll please for this week's project, because I know you will want one too. I built some Cedar herb planters for the countertop or windowsill with interchangeable tags that display funny names for the herbs you grow, because we all know big deal energy is a thing. It's about time, so follow me and lessons anfangen.
There's dirt on my hands, strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand.
Let's start off by rocking the workshop with my Cedar fence picket all-stars. Let's bring them over to the miter saw to chop them up to pieces. Oops, I almost forgot to start off with some plants first, so I know where to cut them. I came up with a quick drawing of how I want those planters to look like. And I also couldn't resist to come up with a bunch of funny names for the plants. But more to them later. For now, once I had figured out the design of the planters, it was time to cut the pieces to size by using my miter saw. Before I start ripping the pieces to the correct width, I like to start off my cut by cleaning up one of the sides to make sure it's smooth. Then I flip the piece over and use that side as one of the sides of the piece that I'm about to cut to the correct size, so both sides have a fresh cut. I decided to cut the pieces to 6 cm width, and then I used two of the pieces together to create a height of 12 cm total. Also, I will leave a 2 mm gap in between those pieces, just for looks and to give the piece space in case of any movement. Cedar is notorious for movement, so I like to work those weak spots into my designs, so the design works with the wood and not against it. Because let me tell you something, wood will always win. So keep that in mind. One thing I like to do before assembling is to cut all the pieces that I will need for the build. And those are all it. The pieces for the sides, the top, the slats for the bottom, and the legs. And here's another close-up of the pieces. Of course I couldn't just build one planter, so I cut a few more of those sets. You can see those in the background as I started to assemble the first planter box. All I used was Titebond 3 glue and my bread nailer with 1-inch nails. I really have to stop storing my glue in my hot workshop. It gets super thick way too quick and then it's hard to use. Do better. The assembly of the pieces is pretty simple and straightforward. Just spread up some glue and then use a bread nailer to hold them in place. And this is how the side piece will look like. The piece towards the bottom is there to hold the slats in place that will create the bottom of the planter box. To fill in all the holes that the bread nails left, I just used some wood filler that suffered the same fate as the glue. It was stored in a way too hot workshop and hardened. I added a few drops of water to make it pliable again. It works, but fresh is always better. I filled in the holes, let it dry a bit, and then sanded off any excess. To keep an even space in between the pieces, I just used a scrap piece that had the right thickness for the space I wanted, and laid it in between the pieces as I assembled. So here I wasn't sure if it would be easy to attach the bottom later after I closed up all 4 sides of the box, so I left one open for now and glued and bread nailed the bottom pieces in first. However, I learned later that that was not necessary. There's enough space to get in easily after all 4 sides are on. So you can choose whatever way you like. I always like to finish my planters with a top. This is purely cosmetic and not needed. I just think it gives it a better finished look, and after all, you want to get the most money for the products that you make. And the finished top just makes all the difference in my opinion. As you can tell, I left some space there on the bottom. One piece is missing. To make the planter extra fancy and customizable, I will inlay magnets, so you can easily swap out name tags and match them with the plants you're growing. To do this, I'm using my CNC machine, my Shapeoko. The holes have a 15mm diameter and are 2mm deep. Just the perfect size for the magnets that I purchased. Like always, you can find a link for the magnets in the description below. And here I'm using my rock solid wood filler to squeeze it in the last few holes that I have not filled yet to get a smooth look in the end. And here's another close-up of the boxes. You can see the holes for the magnets up in front. The pieces that make up the legs stick out just enough to raise the box up slightly in case there's any water spillage. As to the finish, I'm using MeikeMade liquid hydration wood oil, finished with a layer of Mousse Magousse wood butter. This finish is perfect for indoor use. And most of all, it's food safe, because the plants might get in contact with the box, so you want to make sure you're using a food safe finish. As the box is dry, I started with the name tag. I decided to cut those tags out of MDF, then I will spray paint them and engrave the names onto it. Before applying the spray paint, I dunk the pieces into sanding sealer. That gives us a smoother finish. Then make sure you shake those cans real good. Yes, I know what you might say now. I forgot my respirator. Again, do better. Wear one. Once the paint has dried, I laser engraved funny names for the herbs onto the tags like Mojito Fuel, Parsley Dressed, 50 Shades of Sage, Big Deal Energy, Guac Me Harder, Time to Party, You Meant So Much to Me. I have a whole other list of more names. Some could not make it onto YouTube, they're just too naughty. What other names can you come up with? Let me know in the comments below. The engraving only takes a short time. Once done, I took the pieces back down into my workshop to glue in the magnets and attach the names onto the boxes. To do this, I'm using super glue. However, I think in the long run it would be better to use epoxy. I had no time to wait another day for the epoxy to dry, and I did not have one of those minute epoxies with me, so I opted for the glue, but I recommend epoxy for a stronger hold. Here's another close-up of those name tags. I love how they came out. What do you think? On the back side it has an inlay for the magnet as well, so the magnets can sit flush on the Cedar box once attached. Before gluing on the magnets, make sure you test the direction so they actually attract each other. I really thought I tested them, but as you can see, I ended up gluing in the wrong way. So it was a mess to get them back off and switch them out to glue them in correctly. But I was able to fix the mistake and now we are fertig! And now I just can't stop changing out those name tags. I can't decide which ones I want to use. You can see my sad plants here. It's time for me to go to the store to get them replaced with some fresh lush growth. Please like, comment and subscribe if you have not done so. Most importantly, please click the bell button to get notified of new videos. If you can, please join my Patreon. That helps me create more YouTube videos. See you soon. Tschüss und auf Wiedersehen.